To get started making a sweater for your animal, you're going to lay your animal in front of you, get a small piece of paper and a pencil. You're going to put that paper over top of your animal, and you're going to outline where the bottom of your animal ends and give your animal some shoulders. Now your new paper can make it a little bit longer than your old paper, but we're going to trace right along where the bottom of our animal ends and give him some shoulders on each side. Once I have the outline of my sweater, I'm going to grab a Sharpie, trace over the outline of my sweater so it's nice and dark, and then I'm going to divide my sweater into sections so that I can fill each area with a different pattern. I gave my animal a nice fluffy collar for their sweater, and you can do that, but you don't have to. It's just another option. Now we're ready to begin filling each section with pattern. I'm going to be drawing with a Sharpie, but you can draw with a pencil and trace over your Sharpie lines. It is up to you. Each section is going to have one simple pattern inside of it. And remember that a pattern is something that repeats. So here I'm starting off with a triangle pattern. And you can use my ideas from my sweater pattern paper, or you can come up with some of your own. Just remember to keep it nice and simple so that it doesn't get too crazy and complicated when we go to add color. If you draw in pencil and trace with a Sharpie, remember to erase all of your pencil lines before you add color. We're going to fill each section with a different pattern, so take your time and really focus on the work in front of you. If we made our sweaters using different shapes and lines to create pattern, then we're also going to be thinking about creating a pattern using color when we add color to our work. When we're using our markers, you want to make sure that you're going really slowly because we don't want to leave behind any white spaces and we don't want to scribble. You're going to stay right inside the lines. And a trick that I like to use when coloring with markers is to outline the shape that I'm filling in first and then very carefully filling in the inside so I stay right inside those lines. In this section, I'm going to be creating a pattern using pink and magenta and purple. So I'm going to start with all the shapes that I know are going to be pink first. If you want to go in order of your color, that's okay. However, you're comfortable creating your pattern using colors. Make sure you take your time coloring and make it look really nice with no white spaces and no scribbling until every one of your pattern sections are filled up with a pattern of color. When you're all finished coloring your sweater, you can take your scissors and very carefully cut your sweater out. I'm going to leave the collar of my sweater white, but you could have added a pattern or colored that in a solid color if you wanted to. When you're finished cutting out your sweater, you're going to grab your animal and very carefully cut your animal out as well. When you have your animal and your sweater cut out, you're going to get your background that we made using our marbled paper technique with our shaving cream. And we're going to very carefully lay your animal and sweater down on your background. My sweater is going to sit on top of my animal a little bit because it's nice and fluffy, but if you want your animal fur to stick out on top of your sweater, it's up to you. We're going to put some glue around the edge of our animal and around the edge of our sweater and lay them down so they fit perfectly on our backgrounds.